Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In this video I'm gonna show you guys 3 components that no matter what project you're building, pretty much you're gonna want to make basically from the beginning, right? I have learned this over time, just building a bunch of projects, and I want to show you guys how you can implement them like really simply. Okay, so today I have opened a React Native project, but these components are also a variable to make in just a regular React project. Okay, so I'm just gonna start off by making a folder called components and start out with the first component. So the first component that you always want to be making is a typography component, okay? And the reason for this component is because you're gonna have text in your app, most likely, and a lot of text in many places. So instead of making a text element or paragraph or whatever in all these different places and applying a class, making a component to take care of all of that is a good idea. So how would you go about implementing this? Okay, so what we need is some text, right? And the first thing we want to create is a style sheet. So let's start off by making the style sheet here. I'm just going to call the style sheet for styles. Okay, so on our style sheet object here we can call create, and now we put in all the keys of our different styles. So let's just put some pretty common ones in here. Let's have some header styles, okay, some body styles, and some sub header styles, okay. And the header styles, you probably want to add something like font size, try to bump it up, and then have a font weight bold, okay, something like this. And for the body, maybe you just want to assign a font size, okay, could be font size 16. And for the subheader, some common styles would be making it a little bigger and then maybe text transforming it and then uppercasing everything, okay. Alright, here we have some common styles. Now, another really neat thing by putting all the typography stuff in one place is that you can compare the styles you have and adjust the font size accordingly to what you think would be matching for a subheader, for example, compared to a body and a header, right? Okay, so this is not all, obviously. So when our typography component here would probably take some children, right? And this would be our text, and then maybe some custom styling in case we have some specific styling we want to pass. It could be a different text color or whatever, okay. Now what we can do is, in the style prop of this text, we can pass in an array. So this is all our styles concatenated together, pretty much. And we may retrieve styles, right? And the second one is going to be our styles object down here. And then one style, okay? We don't know what that style is before it's passed in. So I'm just going to put in variant here, okay? And then define it up here, and I'm gonna give it a default to a body. So if you make a typography component somewhere and we don't specify the variant, it will always be body. So we will have the font size 16, okay. Alright, this is how it looks, okay. Now we need to remember to put in children here, and that should be good. Now another thing that you probably want to do is to make a common some common styling here. Probably a font family. If you're rolling with a specific font family, you can put it here, and then up in our style here we can just always pass in styles.comment. So this styling is always applied to all of the different typography variants. Okay, now let's just give this one a try. So if we select everything and delete, make a new component here, we can type out typography here, automatically import it, and then just give it a whirl. Just put in some text here, save. Oh, unrecognized font, Roboto. Okay, so we actually don't have this font, but yeah, you could put in some fonts here if you import a specific font. Okay, so far we don't have it. Now we just, to make sure you guys can see it clearly over here, I'm just gonna import save area view. Is it save area view? Yeah. Okay. Hello. Okay. So now if I copy this one and pass in a different variant, could be I want to pass in header. All right, we get a different header here, yeah. And we can also put in subheader, and then we get the subheader here. Okay, these are different styles of text. Now, two more components I want to show you guys. Two more components. The second one is gonna be spacing, a spacing component. Now, why would you need a spacing component? Well, if you're working, well, both mobile and web, you will often have some spacing going on in different places, and you might get kind of how do you say, feel like applying some margin top and bottom to different components in your app, because suddenly you need some spacing here for it to make sense, or even just put in some spacing into your styles in other components, which is not super neat. So what you can do is just to make use of this space component, and what this space component needs to do is just to render a view, and this space component needs to have some styling. Okay, and let's define our styles. So style sheet create, and just like before, we want some different variants here. Okay, and I'm just gonna call them numbers. So we might have a variant 1, variant 2, and a variant, just put in variant 3 here. Okay, now since we are working with spacing, we can put in something simple as margin vertical. Okay, put in 5, and for our variant 2 could be 10, and variant 3 could be 15. Okay, something very simple like this. Now up here in our spacing, for our props, we're gonna need once again a variant. I'm just gonna call it variant in both places, so when we're talking about different types, we always use this prop name just to make them match. Okay, so the common one could just be 1. So here in our view.style, we can put in styles dot our styles and then variant here like this. Okay, and that should actually be all. I think that's pretty much all we need. So if we go in here and we import our spacing component, oh sorry, it seems like we forgot to import our style sheet here. So if we import that, we get some neat spacing here, as you can see. And if I decide that, oh, here I actually need a little more spacing, I can put variant 2 here, get a little more, variant 3, get a little more. Okay, very simple, very neat. And if you're building a bigger app, you will get this problem where you need to do spacing all the time, and having a component just to take care of that is very neat. Okay, now the last component which I also think is necessary, at least if you are working on React Native, is kind of an indent component, or I just call it container, which is a component where you will have some spacing or some padding on both sides. So often when you're working with mobile, you have stuff moved in, like have some spacing from left and right, but also you want to usually make some dividers that takes the whole length. For instance, some images that use the whole width of the screen, right? And that's where we need to do a lot of indentation here and there. Like we can't just indent the whole thing usually, because we want these full width components here and there. And the implementation is pretty simple. We want to expose children as a prop, because we usually put some stuff inside this container. We want custom styles in case we want to apply some custom styles. And then we can also put in a full height prop. I'm going to talk about this one in a moment. So we have our view here and our children here. And let's define some styles again. So again, I'm just going to call it styles, and I'm going to define a style sheet here. Create a style sheet, and then I want some styles. So I'm just going to say padding horizontal, like this. And I think 20 is a pretty good number, so I'm just going to put 20 there. Now I'm going to add another one here called full height, which is basically just going to say flex 1, just in case we introduce some scrolling and we just want a container to fill out the entire height of the screen here. Okay, so up here I want to create an array of styles. Just going to call it final styles. I'm going to put in style and styles.container. Okay, if we pass in full height, I want to add some additional styling. So final styles.push, and that's going to be styles.full height here. Okay, so now I can just say styles and then pass in our final styles here. Okay, like this. I think this should be all for our indent/container component. Oh, I need to remember to import style sheet over here. Okay, so this component is pretty neat. So if we give it a try here, so let's just wrap these two in a container. Okay, import it automatically, and then whoop, there we go. Now these two are indented. Okay, and yeah, this is a pretty neat thing to have. I'm sure when you start working on I probably already faced this problem, but if you haven't already, you will definitely face it at some point, and you're gonna be happy that you started using this way with a component instead of adding that extra padding everywhere. Okay, this is all I want to show you guys. 3 very commonly used components, 3 components you probably will need, or if or at least they will help you. Okay, that's all for this short video. See you guys in the next one.